I know a lot of people will also get quite anxious before competition. What is the normal sort of solution to that? Like, my brain kept on wanting to say cure then. I was like, not quite the right word. So yeah, how do you sort of solve the issue of anxiety or like really bad nerves, either on competition day or like just before a performance?
Yeah. I'm going to be the unhelpful person and say it depends again, because everyone will get nervous for different reasons. And I think the reasons why you get nervous will then influence what you then do about it. I think also a common problem is people want to get rid of those nerves rather than recognizing that they are actually quite useful. So nerves help us focus. The biggest issue is when we then don't put that focus into the right things, which comes back to where our attention is becomes really important. So if we're feeling nervous, let's direct it in the way that's going to be helpful, as what tends to happen is when we're nervous, that focus goes into the biggest threats of what could go wrong, what's causing me nerves, as opposed to, okay, what could go well? What's the opportunity here? What can I take from it? Like, why am I doing this? What can be gained? Things like that, or going into kind of focuses on like, okay, how do I do well today? Like, where's my focus need to be from a technical point of view and physically and mentally. Rather than thinking about if I do well today, and that puts then the pressure on the outcome as opposed to being more on the process of like just focus on these things and like it'll go okay. And then, yeah, trying not to get too swept up by what could this mean by winning this or doing well today, and being more focused on the process and the how to win, not if. But yeah, I think that's just an example. But as I said, it very much depends on what's the reasons you get nervous, what's the level of that nerves. Like if it's really extreme where if you're throwing up and you feel like your body isn't responding, then we'll try and lower those nerves, and that might be dealing with, okay, what's the thoughts that you're thinking about? Like what's the beliefs that are underpinning that around like maybe like failure or kind of fear of judgment. And then a lot of that work might be then building up confidence to go, okay, well, if I'm confident in myself, then that just means that like I don't have to fear it because I know it's going to go well. Or even confident that you'll be able to cope if it doesn't. A lot of anxiety might come from the fact that we think we can't cope with whatever does happen. So like, whereas if we reinforce to ourselves that actually no matter what happens, it will be okay, and I will be okay, and I'll be managing it, and I'll cope with it, even if it's not what you want, then that becomes a little bit more manageable then. So yeah, I think sometimes it's about reducing that anxiety to a manageable level, and sometimes we get people on the opposite side of it where they don't get nervous at all, but then that means that maybe they're not focused at all, and it doesn't go well. So sometimes we'll also be working on getting people's anxiety higher, and that's where you get people having like pumped up music and all the rest of it to try and raise that level in a helpful way. So yeah, I think lifting your confidence, lowering anxiety to a level that's manageable are two main things, and that would either be working on the beliefs and the thoughts going in, and that's where the preparation, as we've talked about, comes in as well, where your focus comes in, but also not perceiving nerves and anxiety to be the enemy and spending so long trying to get rid of them or going, I really don't want to be feeling like this. Sometimes a lot of it is just sitting with that uncomfortableness and recognizing that it's okay and you can still perform even with it. Because why aren't you nervous? Like this is something that means a lot to you. You would expect to be a little bit nervous because it means something. That's why you do it. That's why you put so much time and energy of your life into something like this. So let's use that energy towards something positive and direct the focus to where we want it to be, rather than feeling like we have to get rid of it and then that's giving it more attention than it probably needs to be given.
Yeah, recognizing that sort of nerves, well, if you're nervous, it means that you care about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And nerves and focus are sort of two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So you just sort of need to redirect it into the right sort of direction.
Yeah.
Like nudge it in the right way so you can use it as a positive rather than a negative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will depend on the level of nerves that you had, as I said, but more often than not, I think the biggest issue is when we try and get rid of something that actually can be helpful for us and we interpret it as a negative thing. We interpret this stress as a bad thing. We need to get rid of it. Same as when we interpret challenge as bad things. We don't want to experience any challenge in our lives. And it's like, no, like you need this and this is helping you and let's work with it and let's manage it in a way that's allowing us to have the confidence to cope, rather than trying to just get rid or avoid in some situations as well.
Yeah.
You know, doing less competitions because they make us feel nervous.
Yeah. Like you said, being okay no matter what the outcome is, because realistically, you've got nothing to lose when you're in these competitions. And while you can gain a lot from a good performance, you don't really lose much from a bad one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter. It's not the end of the world. It happens.
Yeah.
It's sort of recognizing that and just enjoying the process of actually competing rather than fearing it.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is what I heard from Riccardo Villa, who's an international, who's an Italian gymnast.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much like the first time I've actually heard someone say, just enjoy the competition.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the process of competing rather than worrying about how it can go wrong.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's why you've signed up to do gymnastics at this level in the first place, to go and appreciate those moments. Like, you even think at the Olympic Games, you don't want to go to the Olympic Games and then go, I just felt like anxiety all the time. And you want to go, no, I went out there and enjoyed every moment of it. No matter how it went, I just embraced it all and then performed my best because I felt in like a comfortable space. Like, yeah, I got nervous on the floor or whatever, but still that's all part and parcel of it, and that's the exciting part of it, and this is the reason I do what I do kind of feeling. Don't let nerves take that away from you, because they're normal and they're expected, and you can then choose how you interpret them and what you do with them.